The drama begins with the funeral of the male lead Jiho. The female lead Min-ji says, 3 days later we were supposed to get married. I was waiting for you to return, but in one moment all my happiness turned into sorrow after hearing about your death. Tell me, should I blame you for leaving me, or should I keep loving you the same way? She cries while saying this. After everyone leaves, when she's about to go too, she suddenly sees Jiho in front of her and is completely shocked. Jiho looks at Min-ji and kisses her. The next morning, when Min-ji wakes up, she keeps calling Jiho's name. At that moment, the president of Garden Finio, Haran, comes to Min-ji. Min-ji asking, "What am I doing here?" He tells her that she fainted there yesterday. Min-ji starts wondering if what she saw yesterday seeing Jiho was just a dream because she can't believe it actually happened. Haran tells her, "Those who have left this world cannot return. You should try to move on." Haran then sends Min-ji on a 6-month cruise trip. 6 months later, when Min-ji returns, she says to herself, "Even after being away from home, I still couldn't forget Jiho. But now I've decided not to run away anymore. I'll try to live in my own city without him." She sits on the sofa, but Jiho is already sitting there. He asks, "What are you doing?" Seeing Jiho there again, Min-ji says to herself, "Am I dreaming again?" Jiho tries to say something, but Min-ji interrupts. "Don't say anything. I don't want to hear it." Jiho says, "This girl has gone crazy." Suddenly, Min-ji hugs him tightly and says, "I love you so much. But I must accept that you're gone because if this continues, I'll really lose my mind." Just then, Naria, who is her brother's wife, entered. The man Min-ji mistook for Jiho is actually Nabai, Naria's brother. Naria asks Nabai, "When did you come back? You didn't even tell me you were returning." Hearing this, Min-ji is shocked and asks Naria, "Is he really your brother?" His face looks exactly like Jiho's. Naria replies, "Yes, he's my younger brother." Min-ji can't stop thinking how someone's face could look so identical to another's. Later in her room, she wonders, maybe he really is Jiho, but due to an accident, he lost his memory. Min-ji decides she'll confirm it by tomorrow. She tells herself if he really is Jiho, he'll surely remember this whale. She shows the whale in front of Jiho. Running toward Nabai, she stumbles, and Nabai rushes to save her. But in Min-ji's eyes, it feels like Jiho is coming to hug her. As Nabai catches her, she says, "I know you're Jiho. You must have remembered everything now." She asks, "Are you proposing to me again?" Nabai replies, "Are you crazy? What nonsense are you talking about?" Later, Min-ji gets an idea. She finds a coat of Jiho's, inside which she discovers a strand of his hair. She says to herself, after a DNA test, I'll prove whether Nabai is actually Jiho or not. When she sneaks close to Nabai to get a hair sample, he's taking photos, and Min-ji accidentally appears in one. He turns and asks, "Why were you standing behind me?" She nervously says, "Nothing. I just wanted to apologize for what happened that day, so I decided to give you a massage." Nabai says, "That's not necessary." But Min-ji insists, "I'm really good at massages. Please, give me a chance to say sorry." Finally, Nabai agrees. While giving him a massage, Min-ji keeps looking for a chance to collect his hair sample. Suddenly, Nabai says, "That's enough. I don't need any more massage." Min-ji stops him and says, "No, I have many more techniques that will help you relax." Nabai tries to leave, but she stops him, and in the scuffle, the oil tray spills all over him, ruining his hair. Later, when Nabai comes out with a towel after showering, Min-ji appears again and says, "Let me dry your hair to apologize." As she approaches with the dryer, her foot gets tangled in the wire, and she falls, accidentally grabbing Nabai. His towel falls, and she's embarrassed. But because of that, she manages to get a strand of Nanbai's hair. Later, Nabai tells his sister Naria, "I've made a detailed plan. To gain the Hua group's shares, we must first target Hua's assistant." Nabai cleverly drops the assistant's pen, and while the assistant bends to pick it up, Nabai secretly takes his phone. The Hua group had made a huge investment in Shurha group's diamond mines. Nabai plans to use the assistant's phone to get their bottom price, so he can outbid them and steal their biggest project of the year. He says to himself, "I think revenge should move at a steady pace, but since Min-ji has returned suddenly, I must finish this quickly." Later, Nabai tells Naria, "I checked the assistant's phone, but couldn't find the diamond documents. I think they're in your husband's study." Naria replies, "The study will be locked, but I'll try to find the key." That night, when Nambai comes home, Naria says, I found my husband's study key. Our biggest competitor in this project is the Hua group. Nambai says, your husband is home, so I can't enter the study right now. Naria replies, you've come at the right time. Tomorrow I'll go for market research with my husband. You can use that chance. Then all Hua family's assets will become Lu family's. Just then, Minji switches on the lights. They both shock. But she says, I was just hungry and came here to grab some food. You both can continue talking. As she goes to take bread, Nambai fears she might notice the keys, so he stops her. Saying Nambai too close, Minji again feels confused because of Jiho's resemblance. Nambai says, so it was you that day, but Minji doesn't understand what he means. A few months ago, I went to visit a friend's grave. At that time, a crazy girl grabbed and kissed me. Was that really you? Hearing this, Minji becomes very embarrassed and starts wondering if she might have mistaken him for Jiho. After returning to her room, Minji appears quite sad and says, so you're not Jiho. It's Minji's birthday today, so Haran brings a cake for her. When Haran wishes Minji a happy birthday, she asks him, do you remember what day it is? Haran replies, of course, how could I forget such an important day? 18 years ago, Aunt Me met you, and that's the day you officially became Minji. Minji says, I was brought into the Hua family as the heir to a listed company, but that house still doesn't feel like mine. Still, I want to thank you for staying by my side all these years. After dinner, while the two are watching the night view, Minji sees a shooting star. She tells Haran about it, but he says, I didn't see it. Maybe that shooting star was Jiho, who's no longer with us. That's why only you could see him. Hearing Jiho's name, Minji gets a bit emotional. Haran then says, this is your birthday gift, and gives her a bracelet with her name engraved on it. He tells her gently, Jiho is gone now, and you're no longer the same Minji you once were. You should move forward with your life. Minji thanks him for the gift. When Minji reaches home, Nambai is heading to study. Seeing her, he becomes a bit nervous and asks, why are you coming home so late? Minji replies, why are you interrogating me like that? Nambai says, there's no one else at home. So, it's my responsibility to look after your safety. Minji explains, it was my birthday today, so I went out with friends. Is that excuse enough? Saying this, she starts walking away. Nambai thinks to himself, I must get that contract today, no matter what. He stops Minji and says, it's your birthday today. I didn't prepare a gift, but I brought an expensive wine from the US. You can celebrate by drinking it. Minji drinks a lot, but still doesn't seem tipsy. Nambai says, I didn't know you were such a strong drinker. Minji laughs, it's years of practice. Nambai teases, so you can't be drugged easily then? Minji asks, what did you say? He quickly replies, nothing. He offers, I have more wine, let's drink together. Soon, Minji becomes quite drunk and looks at Nambai, saying, Jiho, do you know how much I miss you? Nambai says, you just said you wouldn't get drunk. As Minji stumbles, her necklace falls. She bends down to pick it up and remembers how Jiho had gifted it to her a year ago, saying he had it custom made. Holding the necklace, she whispers, Jiho, why did you hide so much from me? But still, I understand you. Whenever I think of you, I only remember the good things. Meanwhile, Minji tells Nambai, let me see if everything's as it should be. Nambai tries to stop her, but Minji doesn't listen. He says, stop testing my patience further. Minji says, why are you embarrassed in front of me? Hearing this, Nambai takes Minji to the bedroom. Minji is about to kiss him but falls asleep right there. Nambai mutters to himself, Minji, think carefully. This might be the perfect time to act. He opened the locker and took photos of the diamond mining documents. As soon as he came out of the study, Minji was standing outside and asked, what are you doing here? Nambai didn't answer, so Minji said, what are you hiding behind your back? When Nambai still didn't respond, Minji insisted, let me see what you're hiding. Nambai thought to himself, Minji must not find out or my entire plan will be ruined. He then said to her, don't you recognize me? I'm Jiho. Hearing this, Minji was shocked. Nambai continued, don't you remember me? And Minji, now emotional, said, why did you leave me? She started crying and hugged Nambai, saying, I missed you so much. When Minji tried to kiss him, Nambai gently pushed her away. Crying, she said, please don't push me away. Later, both went to their room. At breakfast, Minji apologized to Nambai, saying, I drank too much last night. Please don't take the behavior of a drunk girl seriously. Nambai felt relieved, thinking, luckily, she doesn't actually believe I'm Jiho, or I'd have to keep this act up forever. He told Minji, from now on, there's a rule. When I'm here, you're not allowed to drink. Minji smiled and replied, okay. Then the scene shifted to 6 months earlier. Minji, wearing her bridal dress, looked stunning yet nervous. Minji is excited and says, Jiho, finally today I'll become your bride. Just then, she receives a call from the police station informing her that Jiho was involved in a shooting incident and has been shot. They also tell her that Jiho is the prime suspect in the case and request her help in the investigation. Hearing this, Minji is shocked. Later, according to the report, Jiho and Nambai are not the same person. After seeing this report, Minji becomes very upset because she always believed that Nambai was actually Tamshin. Feeling heartbroken, Minji goes out to drink. When she asks for meat, the boss tells her that it's finished. The last serving was just given to the person at the next table. Minji goes there to get it and finds that the person is none other than Nambai, who has been keeping an eye on her for the company's reasons. Nambai is surprised to see Minji and wonders what she is doing there. The scene cuts, and later, Minji is on her way home when 2 men start following her. As they get close, Nambai arrives, takes off his headphones, and gives them to Minji. Hearing the music wakes her up, and she starts enjoying it, while Nambai teaches the men a lesson. That night, Minji tells herself that her sad vacation is over. For the sake of her and Jiho's business, she decides to move forward in life. Minji says emotionally, Jiho, it's been a long time since you left. I thought I had moved on, but when Nambai came back into my life, I realized I hadn't. Today, I want to properly say goodbye to you. Nambai looks at Minji and says, who could have imagined this girl could dress up so beautifully? He asks, are you going out? Minji replies, yes, I'm going to meet my friends. Suddenly, she hugs Nambai, which shocks him. Later, Minji bids her final goodbye to Jiho, saying, I can't live my life only in your memories. I must move on. Nambai gently pushes her hand aside, still surprised. Minji laughs and says, you grew up in the West, so I was just saying good morning to you in a Western way. She then walks away and Nambai says, she's still as crazy as before. Now, Minji's father, Mr. Hu, appears, looking worried. Naria asks him what's wrong. He replies, we lost the diamond mining bid. Naria says, that's normal in business. But Mr. Hu says, can you believe an American company with no real name snatched it from us by offering just 0.5% more? Naria replies, darling, profit can wait. Your health is more important. Naria is very happy and says, Nambai, you did a great job. Naria notices the will and immediately goes to tell Nambai, I think Mr. Hu is planning to transfer his entire business to his elder daughter. Since she's back now, I believe he'll do it soon. Nambai says, she's his daughter, so naturally, she'll inherit everything, but what she actually gets depends on the will. Naria is angry because she doesn't know where Mr.Hu had the will printed. Nambai says, help me get into Vanma Group, and I'll help you find the will. On the other side, Minji is discussing launching the product made by Jiho with her team. Just then, Naria enters, saying, since Vanma Company is a subsidiary of Hua Group, as a director I came here to inspect. Meanwhile, Nambai sneaks into Jiho's office. He finds a safe and tries to open it, but hears Minji entering. When Minji comes into the office, she thinks Jiho is sitting there, but it's Nambai. Even so, Minji becomes emotional seeing him and asks herself, what am I even thinking? He's not Jiho. She asks, what are you doing here? Nambai replies, I came here with my sister. Minji says, then why are you following me? Nambai answers, you always say I look like Jiho, so I just wanted to see what he actually looked like. Looking at Jiho's photo, Nambai says, his fashion sense is terrible. How could he possibly compete with me? Hearing that, Minji gets angry and says, what kind of talk is that? He was much better looking than you. Nambai steps closer and asks, really? You think so? Minji asks, why are you doing all this? Nambai says, I don't want to be someone's reflection. You're really confusing me. Minji says, who told you that? Nambai replies, then why did you kiss me that time? Minji says, that was just a misunderstanding. Nambai asks, if that's true, then why were you secretly watching me in my room? Minji says, I wasn't secretly watching you. It's not what you think. Nambai, surprised, asks, are you telling the truth? Then why are you blushing? Following her, Minji says, I know you're not Jiho. That's why I'll never treat anyone as Jiho's replacement. Nambai replies, if that's what you think, then that's good. After saying this, Nambai leaves. Actually, he did all of this to take Minji's fingerprint. That night, Nambai returns to Minji's office once again. Using Minji's fingerprint, Nambai opens the locker and retrieves the will. The next morning, he brings the will to Naria and shows it to her, saying that Mr. Who is leaving everything to his daughter. Hearing this, Naria becomes furious. Nambai asks what her next plan is. Naria tells him to leave the house immediately, saying she has already arranged a new place for him. Nambai is confused and asks why. Naria replies that Mr. Who cannot be trustable, so he must leave right away. Though Nambai doesn't want to go, Naria assures him that Hua Group will soon be theirs. Meanwhile, Naria arrives at the hospital because Mr. Who has fallen unconscious. Naria tells if Sister Lee hadn't come on time to give first aid, Mr. Who would have died. Just then, Minji rushes in. Seeing her, Naria begins acting innocent, saying it's all her fault, that she was in the kitchen and didn't realize her father was having a heart attack. She even pretends to faint. Minji tells her not to blame herself and to go home and rest. Hearing this, Naria quietly leaves. Minji's father slips into a coma. Looking at him, she says she hopes he wakes up soon. When Nambai returns, Naria arranges a dinner for him. During dinner, she tells him Hua Group will soon be theirs. Nambai asks what she means. Naria explains that she has been taking care of Mr. Who for years, and now she has finally caused his heart attack. Though he's still alive, she doubts he'll survive much longer. Nambai warns her that she might be suspected if she stays away, but Naria insists she doesn't want to see that old man's face. At the hospital, Minji lies asleep outside her father's room. Seeing this, Nambai gently covers her with his coat and sits beside her. When Minji's assistant rushes in, Nambai signals her to speak quietly. She tells him that since her father fell ill, Minji has been managing both the company and hospital alone, which has been exhausting for her. Hearing this, Nambai feels sympathy and says to himself that although she is Mr. Who's daughter, she's nothing like him. I don't want to lie to myself anymore, he murmurs. From now on, I'll protect her. When Minji wakes up, she finds Nanbai's message asking her to come downstairs. She goes down and sees Nambai bringing her a flower pot as a gift. As she returns his jacket, Nambai smiles and says, "The stain on my jacket must have been caused while sleeping." Minji tells him that if you are having problem, I will wash it and returns you, but Nambai doesn't give Minji his jacket. Instead, he drops his own umbrella, steps closer to Minji, and gently grabs her the umbrella. Minji keeps staring at him in surprise. She comments that he has changed his clothing style today. To make her smile, Nambai jokes, "Don't I look cool?" Minji laughs and replies, "Yes, you look very cool." Nambai tries to blow the dandelion, but after failing several times, Minji laughs. Nambai asks, "Do you really find that funny?" Minji teases him a little. Minji blows these dandelions easily. "If you're weak, you should accept it." Nambai insists, "I'm not weak," and they begin playfully arguing. Minji then says softly, "You came to cheer me up, right?" Nambai replies, "I heard that blowing away dandelions during sadness helps your worries fly away too. I just wanted to see if it's true." Minji appreciates his effort. She explains that the design she and Jiho made wasn't selling well, and she was so stressed she was thinking about giving up. "But because of you, I feel better again," she says. "So I'm going back to work right now." As she leaves, Nambai grabs an umbrella and follows her outside. Later in the hospital, Mr. Who finally wakes up. Minji rushes to call the doctor. When Naria hears that Mr. Who has regained consciousness, she becomes furious. At the office, Minji discovers that their bracelet is now selling extremely well. She asks, "Are you saying that after Louis liked our bracelet, the sales increased?" Assistant confirms, "Yes, that's right." Minji says that if Louis agrees to collaborate with them, the Honey Love sales can also increase. The assistant explains that she heard Louis never does commercial deals. Minji replies, "This is Honey Love's last chance. I'm willing to do anything for it." This design was created by Jiho and Minji together. Minji begins messaging Louis, but actually, Louis is Nambai himself. Nambai thinks if I agree too quickly, she'll think I'm not valuable. So he messages her from another ID saying, My uncle works as a security guard in Tianghome community, and according to him, Louis lives there. Nambai thinks, even someone like Minji will easily find me after this message. After reading the message, Minji reaches the building. She wonders how she will enter. She then sees Nambai and calls him over. She says, I need to go inside for something very important. Please help me get in. Nambai replies, are we even that close for me to help you? Minji says, come on, you're like my uncle. Nambai says, I'm older than you, so fine, just this once. He tells the guard she is his niece, and the security guard lets her in. Minji asks Nambai, I heard a very big influencer, Louis, lives here. Have you seen him? Nambai answers, I don't like meeting strangers. Then she asks, how many bedrooms do you have in your apartment? Nambai, why? Minji, I was thinking, until I meet Louis, maybe I should stay here. Coming every day is too tiring. Nambai refuses. When he does not agree, she starts acting cute to persuade him. Nambai says, people are watching. Behave properly. But Minji continues her cute act, so Nambai gives up and says, you can stay, but there will be rules. You won't disturb me. And the moment you find Louis, you will leave my house immediately. Minji says, fine. Shortly after Minji arrives at Nanbai's house, Naria also comes and asks, what are you doing here? Nambai explains, she is staying here to find Louis. Naria says, I need to speak with Nambai alone. Hearing this, Minji says, I was going out anyway, and leaves. Nambai says, I know what you're going to say, but I intentionally gave Minji my address. Nambai continues, Mr. Who has left the group, and according to the will, Minji will now head of this group. To secure this position, Mr. Who will form a team. To take over the group, we need to understand our enemy properly, and the best way is for me to pose as Louis and partner with Minji. Naria warns, but Louis never makes deals with anyone. If you make a deal with the Who group, many rumors may spread, and Minji might get suspicious. Nambai replies, that's why I did all this, so Minji will request me to make a deal with her. Naria agrees, fine, let's follow your plan. Minji stands near bins and says, maybe I'll find a clue about Louis here. While searching for a clue, Nambai sees her and asks, what are you doing? Minji says, I'm searching for clues to reach Louis. Nambai is surprised. Do you see Louis as trash? Minji explains, Louis is English, so maybe I'll find some English-related stuff here. Nambai lifts Minji and says, you don't care about your reputation, but I do, and carries her away. A photographer is capturing their photos at this moment. Later, Nambai makes Minji wash her hands. Seeing this, Minji recalls Jiho. Minji asks, do you often help girls wash their hands? Nambai responds, are you interested in my private life? Minji says, no, I was just asking. While Nambai is drying Minji's hands, she enjoys it. Minji asks casually, do you treat every girl this nicely? And suddenly realizes she shouldn't have asked that. Changing the topic, she starts to leave. But Nambai stops her and says, I'm not this nice to every girl. I only treat those nicely in whom I'm interested. After saying this, Nambai leaves. Once Nambai goes, Minji thinks, I feel like I'm seeing Jiho again. Otherwise, how could I be impressed by this kind of person? Back in the room, Nambai thinks to himself, if I want Minji to realize that I am actually Louis, I need to drop some clues that make her suspicious. Running to Nambai, Minji says, the Louis posted a photo of this building on social media. This means my guess was right, Louis actually lives here. Minji is very happy. Nambai is about to say, yes, I am Louis, but Minji interrupts, Louis is never your neighbor. Minji adds, I'm going to check it myself. Seeing this, Nambai gets angry that she misunderstood the clue. When Minji returns, she looks quite upset. Nambai asks, how is everything? Minji replies, an 80-year-old man lives there. Then Nambai uploads a photo of the statue in the living area. Minji sees the photo just as Heron calls her, asking if he should send her the compiled sales data. Minji says, my assistant will come to get it because I am staying at my uncle's house right now. Heron says, why don't I just come to deliver it myself? This way I can also meet your uncle. Minji agrees, and when Heron comes to the house, Nambai opens the door for him. Both look at each other in surprise. Minji says to Heron, why are you standing outside? Come in. Minji tells Heron, this is my aunt's younger brother. Minji says to Heron, did this feel like Jiho to you too? When I first met him, I was shocked just like you, but he is not Jiho. Heron continues, I was a bit confused seeing you. That's why I didn't say hello earlier. Please forgive me, because when Minji told me she was staying with her uncle, I thought an older man would be there. I never expected her uncle to be so young. Nambai says, but I've never heard Minji talk about you. Haran replies, that's because you two are not close. This angers Nambai. Haran continues, Minji shares everything with me. Nambai says, Minji is so innocent, she trusts everyone easily. But I'm her uncle, so all of Minji's male friends must pass my test. To ease the tension, Minji asks Haran, did you bring the documents? Haran says, yes, here are the documents. Minji says, you've helped me a lot. Let's go have dinner. Minji and Haran go out for dinner. Nambai says, why go out? I can cook at home. Nambai starts cooking. Meanwhile, Minji and Haran sit down and discuss the documents. Seeing them together, Nambai gets jealous. To disturb them, Nambai asks Minji, can you bring me those pepper? Minji gives him the pepper. Still, Nambai can't tolerate them sitting together. He asks Minji again, can you bring me some water? Minji is about to go, but Haran says, I can do it. When Nambai serves food, he gives Haran very little pasta. Minji notices and gives her pasta to Haran. Seeing this, Nambai feels upset again. When Minji returns after see-off Haran, Nambai says, I made a laminate for you. Minji tastes it and says, why is this so sour? Nambai asked, how did you like its taste? Minji says, can't you see it upset me a lot? Nambai says, I'm just happy to know that. Minji asks, why are you behaving so strangely today? As Minji tries to leave, Nambai stops her. He kisses her, leaving Minji shocked. Then Nambai says, I thought we were thinking the same thing. Minji replies, I wasn't thinking about any of that. After this, Nambai leaves, and Minji says to herself, he's not Jiho, but still I can't stop myself despite all this confusion. Soon, Nambai returns and says closely to Minji, I absolutely dislike strangers coming into my house, so don't bring anyone here without my permission. Minji asks, why should I follow your words? Nambai says, it's my house. If you have a problem, you can leave. Minji sends Nambai the rent for staying here and says, from now on, this house is not just yours, it's mine too, so I can invite whoever I want. Nambai says, I won't accept this. Minji replies, then I will keep sending the money until you accept it. Her eyes fall on the bear statue, and she says, Louis has the exact same one. Nambai says, only one bear can exist per serial number. Hearing this, Minji realizes something. She thinks, this must be a high-quality replica. Why would anyone buy a replica if they can't buy the original? Nambai feels disappointed. Today, Haran comes to meet Minji at the office and asks, you're trying to find Louis, right? Our garden venue is inviting influencers and industry stars for the anniversary celebration. You can invite Louis. After coming home for this party, Minji shows Nambai her dresses. Minji looks beautiful, but even then Nambai says that the dress doesn't suit her, so she keeps trying on different dresses for him. Then she appears in a red dress. Seeing her, Nambai is stunned. Minji says, I think this one looks good on me. Nambai replies, yes, you're right. When Minji asks for help, Nambai zips her dress. His words remind her of Jiho again. Seeing her blush, Nambai asks, are you blushing while thinking about me? Minji quickly says, it's nothing like that, and leaves, saying she needs to pick up something from home and won't return tonight. Later, Minji is shown again. Soon, Nambai arrives. He tries to kiss her, but Minji stops him, saying, you're my uncle. Yet, as always, seeing Nambai awakens her suppressed emotions for Jiho, and she can't resist him. Nambai kisses her, but actually Minji is dreaming. She wakes up after falling from the bed and feels embarrassed about what she dreamt. At the costume party, Nambai arrives dressed as Louis. At the entrance, Minji's assistant checks the invitation and informs Minji about Louis's outfit. Naria also arrives there. She asks Nambai what he is doing. Nambai reveals, I tried many times to make Minji realize that I am Louis, but she still couldn't guess it. Now that she knows my mask and outfit, she'll find me. Haran overhears everything and realizes Nambai is Louis. Haran understands that Nambai is planning something involving Minji. Haran moves aside, calls his assistant, and orders, send some men wearing the same costume I'm sending you. Haran says, whatever you try, I won't let you succeed. Minji thinks she has found Louis, but then realizes many guests are wearing the same costume. She cannot identify him, so she plays Lewis's favorite song and begins dancing, saying if Lewis is here, he will definitely come to me after hearing this. Just then, Nambi joins Min-ji on the dance floor. While dancing with him, she gets flashbacks of Jiho and says softly, "You remind me of someone I knew very well. He was my fiancé, and he died a day before our wedding. I didn't even get a chance to say goodbye." Nambi replies, "You should forget Jiho." Min-ji says emotionally, "But I don't want to forget him. If I fall in love with someone else, what will I do? I truly miss him a lot." Nambi looks closely at Min-ji's necklace, becomes tense, and leaves. Min-ji calls out Jiho by mistake and tries to stop him, but Nambi walks away. She begins crying and says, "I just wanted to spend my life with you." Next morning, Min-ji is looking at a picture of the influencer. Nambi sees it and says irritably, "What's so good-looking about him that you keep staring at him?" He starts insulting the picture. Min-ji laughs and says, "You're jealous." "I knew it." Nambi says, "Why would I be jealous of him?" He says, "A better option is standing right in front of you." Min-ji warns, "Don't disturb me. I'm working. I need to choose some influencers to collaborate with." Nambi asks, "Aren't you going to search for Lewis anymore?" Min-ji says, "I tried so much, but I can't find him. I'm giving up." Nambi says, "How can you give up after trying this hard?" Hearing this, Min-ji says, "Haerin is right. I can't waste my whole life on one option." This makes Nambi very angry. He says, "How can you trust everything Haerin says? Who can ever compare to Lewis?" Min-ji asks, "Why are you getting so upset? I forgot you're a big fan of Lewis. Don't worry, maybe in the future you'll get a chance to meet your star." Saying this, Min-ji walks away. Nambi opens his laptop and Nambi keeps his laptop aside and comes to check on Min-ji in her room. She is sitting on the floor. When he asks what happened, she quickly goes to fix her makeup, saying she cannot let anyone take her picture in this condition. Nambi insists she needs to go to the hospital and takes her there. The nurse tells Min-ji, "You need surgery for your hemorrhoid. Have a family member sign the form." Min-ji refuses to ask anyone, but at that moment Nambi arrives and signs the form himself. After surgery, when Nambi comes to meet her, Min-ji hides under the blanket out of embarrassment. Nambi pulls her blanket and says, "Why are you hiding from me? Come out." Min-ji says, "I don't want to see you. I'll come out only after you leave." Nambi replies, "I'm not going anywhere. Let's see how long you can stay like this." Min-ji tries to push him away, but in the process the two accidentally come close, staring at each other. Just then the nurse enters and says, "You should take good care of your girlfriend's wound." Min-ji immediately says, "We're not a couple. He's my uncle." The nurse laughs and says, "Your uncle? He looks very young." Later, when Nambi is giving food to Min-ji, the nurse notices the injury on his hand and offers to apply medicine. While treating him, she asks, "Can I add you on WeChat?" Hearing this, Min-ji feels bad. To tease her, Nambi says, Maybe you can add me." Annoyed, Min-ji says to the nurse, "Don't go by my uncle's looks. He's actually 50 plus and divorced twice." Embarrassed, the nurse quietly leaves. After going to the washroom, Min-ji mutters to herself, "Why did I get upset over that?" She was thinking that she was feeling jealous. But she told herself, "How could I be jealous of Nambi? Maybe the anesthesia made me mix Jiho and Nambi again." After coming out, Min-ji covered Nambi's mouth and said that if he tells anyone about my surgery, it won't be good for him. At the same time, Haerin arrived. Haerin asked, "What are you two doing?" Min-ji said, "My uncle said he has a toothache. I was just checking that." Haerin asked, "What happened to you?" Nambi wanted to explain what surgery she had, but Min-ji didn't let him and said, "It was just a minor surgery, and you can see I'm perfectly fine." Min-ji then signaled Nambi to hide the cushion. Seeing these two talking together, Haerin didn't like it and said, "Min-ji has started sharing her secrets with Nambi. But why is she doing this?" Haerin offered, "I can take you for a walk." Min-ji replied, "I have some discussions to do with my uncle, so I can't go with you." After coming out, Haerin asked Nambi, "Do you like Min-ji?" Nambi said, "That's none of your problem." Haerin said, "Since he's her uncle, you should behave accordingly." Nambi replied, "Why do you think she has a problem because of me? Maybe she has fallen for him. The only reason Min-ji might be close to you is that your face resembles Jiho. But after some time, she won't be close to you. I will prove it." Nambi said, "Then let's see who wins." Then both left. Today, when Min-ji came to the office, she finds out that their design had been stolen. Minji said, "These people have already taken this design, so we can't use it now. Inform the factory to stop production." The assistant said that the headquarters gave them only 2 weeks to solve this issue. Minji said, "First, we need to find out who did this." When Minji realized she would have to review a lot of CCTV footage, she asked Nambai, "Will you help me find the suspect?" Nambai replied, "Why should I help you?" Minji said, "What should I do to convince you?" Nambai was thinking about how Minji kissed him. He was astonished. Then Minji said, "It was an accident." "I accidentally kissed you again." Nambai kissed Minji, saying that she could consider it compensation. Then they both sat together to check the footage. While working, night fell. As they were reviewing a clip, they realized some parts had been deleted. On the way back, Nambai asked Minji why she was so upset. Minji explained that since she had taken over the company, she hadn't been able to generate any profit and felt she didn't know how to run a business. Nambai said that if that was the case, she might consider giving up. Minji said that if Jiho were here, maybe everything would be fine. Nambai then asked her to pretend he was Jiho for 1 minute and asked what he would say. Nambai hugged Minji and said that he was not with her, and managing the company alone would be very difficult for her, but she had done an excellent job. If she wanted to run the company, she could do it, and he would support her. Hearing this, Minji started crying. Nambai reassured her that even if she didn't want to run the business, he would still support her. Minji, touched, said she didn't want to give up. She added that her button design trend was very unique. Nambai said he had created it himself. This reminded Minji that Jiho had a glass puppy made with a traditional technique, which she wanted to use for her new design. Nambai agreed it was a good idea. Later at home, Nambai called Mr. Liu, who had just released a new jewelry line. Mr. Liu remarked that it had been a long time since Louis called and asked if he was interested in working together. Nambai noted that while the designs were good, they weren't so exceptional that they would be stolen. Mr. Liu asked what he wanted, and Nambai explained that you are using investors' money to run your own company and what will happen if everyone finds out about this. Mr. Liu angrily says, "What do you want?" Nambai says, "I just want you to listen to me." At night, Bloy came to check the computer and said she had properly deleted the files. So then why Mr. Liu was confident that the file hadn't been deleted? While she was checking, Minji came in with Nambai and told her that she had leaked the design. Nambai had collaborated with Minji on the entire plan. The girl told Minji that there was no file on the computer, so there was no proof. Even if she showed it, she couldn't win the case. At that moment, Heron came in and told Minji that he had restored the deleted footage. Minji told Heron thanks for helping restore the video. Heron said that since Minji had called him at night saying she could trust only him, how could he possibly disappoint her? Back home, Nambai told Minji that why had she involved Heron in all this, if he wasn't enough. Minji, seeing him upset, asked if he was jealous. Nambai said that she first came to him and told him she could trust only him, and then she went to Heron and told him the same thing. He felt betrayed. Minji said he didn't need to be upset and admitted she was wrong. Minji told him to eat the chips to feel better. While doing this, Minji thought about why she cared so much about improving his mood and why she got so angry. Nambai said that he would forgive her this time but wouldn't do so next time. Saying this, Nambai took chips from Minji and left. Meanwhile, Naria was talking to someone who said that the whole plan was exposed. Naria said that she wouldn't let Minji go so easily. Today, Minji and Nambai came to meet a traditional artist at his house, whose name was Mr. Chang. Minji tried to convince him that she wanted to work with him, but he wasn't interested in collaborating with her. So when Mr. Chang was closing the door, Nambai accidentally injured his hand while saving Minji's hand. Minji is applying medicine to Nanbai's injury. She says, "Look, your hand is hurt." Nambai asks, "Are you worried about me?" But Minji does not respond. Mr. Chung arrives to give Minji a bandage. Minji wants to talk to him, but Mr. Chang says, "We will not discuss the collaboration because I am not going to agree. You both should leave." Minji says, "It's getting dark. I was thinking maybe we could stay here tonight." She signals to Nambai, and Nambai starts acting like his hand is hurting badly. Seeing this, Mr. Chang says, "You both can stay in the guest room, but you must leave in the morning." Minji asks, "Is there only one room?" Mr. Chang replies, "Aren't you two a couple? If so, then I cannot give you permission to stay here." Minji says, no, you are misunderstanding. We really like each other. At night, Nanbai and Minji are watching stars. Nanbai asks, Mr. Chang is not ready to agree at all. What is your plan now? Minji says, Mr. Chang is a good person. He allowed us to stay here. So like before, we will create our own opportunity, and I believe he will agree. When they reach the room, Minji warns Nanbai, if you try to cross this line, you won't survive. Nanbai lies down and pulls the blanket from Minji. Angry, Minji takes the whole blanket from him. A tug-of-war over the blanket begins, and meanwhile, mosquitoes start troubling Minji. Seeing Minji troubled by mosquitoes, Nanbai rolls up his sleeves and sits closer so the mosquitoes will bite him instead of her. Minji says, you are cold-blooded, so mosquitoes won't drink your blood. Hearing this, Nanbai gets irritated and lightly hits Minji on the head. Minji gets angry and starts hitting Nanbai back. Both of them start fighting like children. The next morning, when Nanbai opens his eyes, he finds Minji very close to him and kisses her on the forehead. When Minji opens her eyes, Nanbai pretends to be asleep. Minji becomes embarrassed seeing herself so close to him and quickly turns aside. After that, Mr. Chang sees them and says, why haven't you left yet? Minji replies, it was about to rain, so we didn't leave. She explains that they are sincere and truly want to promote traditional craftsmanship. Mr. Chang says, if you two can make this simple piece, I will consider talking to you. Minji accepts the task. Minji and Nanbai start making the ring together. At first they struggle, but eventually they succeed and become very happy. In the evening, when they show the ring to Mr. Chang, he does not like it and refuses to discuss the collaboration. Minji says, at least look at our efforts. We really want to work with you. But Mr. Chang does not listen. Seeing this, Minji also becomes angry. Then Heron arrives. When Minji sees Heron, she becomes very happy. But Nanbai doesn't like it and starts questioning him. Nanbai asks Heron how he knew they were here. Before Heron can reply, Mr. Chang says, Heron is not like you two. He is a very good person. He comes here to help our village. Heron says, our company also works on developing such areas. Since Mr. Chang is the head here, I came to meet him. Mr. Chang tells Minji and Nanbai to leave. Heron tells Minji that before coming here, he had already booked 3 hotel rooms, and Minji should come with him to the hotel. Before Nanbai can say anything, Minji says, we came in such a hurry that we didn't get time to book a hotel. Thank you so much. Next morning, Nanbai goes to meet Minji, but gets shocked when he sees Heron walking out of Minji's room. Nanbai says, didn't you promise you wouldn't drink? Minji replies, I said I won't drink in front of you. Nanbai asks, how can you drink alone with a guy? Minji replies, last night even I was alone in the room with you. Heron doesn't like this conversation, and, because Nanbai has no answer, he tries to change the topic saying, you ordered too many drinks. You won't finish them alone, so I'll join. They all sit outside. Heron suggests playing a game. Minji asks, which game? Heron says, let's play I have you don't game. Nanbai says they want to play childish games. Heron teases him, your uncle mode is on. That's why you don't know such games. Minji agrees and says he's right. Nanbai says, you guys are teasing me by calling me uncle. Minji says, it's nothing like that. If you don't want to play, no problem. I and Heron will play. Minji explains the rules. Whoever folds all 5 fingers first must drink. Heron tells Nanbai not to force himself, because such games reveal many secrets, and Nanbai has a lot to hide. Nanbai gets angry and decides to play. They start competing over things they did with Minji. Minji gets embarrassed and stops Heron. Later, Nanbai asks Minji in her room what Heron was saying that she silenced him. He asks why Heron took her home when she was drunk. Minji says, there is nothing between me and Heron. We are just friends. Why are you focusing so much on us? Are you jealous? Nanbai says, yes, I am jealous. Minji is shocked. Nanbai then puts the ring they made together on her finger and says, you are only mine, and kisses her. Next morning, Heron knocks on Minji's door. Minji tells Nanbai, please don't come out. Minji comes out, and Heron informs her that Mr. Chang needs a heritage interior designer. Minji says she knows exactly how to approach him. They're about to leave together when Nanbai arrives. Seeing this, Heron asks why he is here. Minji says Nanbai's shower wasn't working, so he came to take a shower in her room, and she quickly leaves. Later, Minji goes again to convince Mr. Chang. Mr. Chang says, "You only care about business, not traditional craftsmanship. It will disappear because of people like you." Min-ji says, "If you collaborate with our company, your craftsmanship will become famous." Just then a young man arrives and says to Mr. Chang, "I have come here to learn this craftsmanship from you." At the same time, a girl also arrives. Mr. Chang becomes very happy to see the two young people and asks, "How did you find out about me?" The boy begins explaining that Louis had made a post about this place. Nambai says, "You can see that if you work with us, there are many more people who truly want to learn this craft." Hearing this, Mr. Chang becomes happy and agrees to work with them. Now Min-ji starts wondering how Louis got the photo of this place. When she looks closely, she realizes that Louis is actually Nambai. Nambai gets shocked too and says, "You just realized now that I am Louis? I gave you so many hints." Min-ji says, "I have wanted to work with you for so long." Nambai replies, "You won't get any special favor." Min-ji says, "I am your most sincere client." After returning, Min-ji keeps convincing Nambai to work with her. As they walk, Min-ji sees a milk packet lying on the ground and a boy coming on a bicycle. She first decides to keep Nanbai's clothes from getting dirty. Maybe her efforts will convince him. But then she realizes her own dress is rented and hides behind Nambai. As a result, Nanbai's clothes get dirty instead. This makes Nambai angry. Min-ji says she can explain everything, but just then her foot slips and she is about to fall. Nambai quickly saves her. Back in her room, Min-ji tells herself that her feelings for Nambai aren't real and that she only likes him because he looks like Jiho. Later, when Min-ji sees Nambai cooking, she remembers she still needs to convince him. So she tells Nambai that she will handle the work. Just then the doorbell rings and Nambai is about to go open it, but Min-ji says she will go. When she opens the door, Haerin is standing outside. Haerin tells her that he was looking for an apartment near his company and ended up becoming her neighbor. As a neighbor, he wanted to greet her. "He brought a gift for you." Min-ji really likes this gift and says it is very beautiful. Haerin tells Min-ji that if she ever needs anything, she should call him. Min-ji replies, "Okay." While watching both of them, Nambai accidentally gets a cut on his finger. Min-ji says, "I'll do your bandage." When she goes to pick up the bandage, she takes out a box. She is about to open this box when Nambai arrives there and stops Min-ji from opening it. Min-ji does not understand why Nambai did this. She gets confused, so Nambai changes the topic and says that he is ready to collaborate with her. Hearing this, Min-ji becomes very happy. At night, it is revealed what was inside the box. Inside it was the same glass dog that once belonged to Jiho. Looking at this glass puppy, Nambai starts saying, "Please forgive me, Min-ji. I cannot tell you that I am actually Jiho. A year ago, I had an accident and Naria saved my life with great difficulty. After recovering, the first person I wanted to see was you. But Naria told me that Min-ji's father was the one who tried to get me killed, and even the accident was arranged by him." Now a flashback is shown. Jiho tells Naria that he wants to talk to his fiancé. Naria tells Jiho that Min-ji is actually the long-lost daughter of the family, and now that they have found her, all the business and property will belong to Min-ji. That's why they think Jiho is only with her for money, and to keep Min-ji away from greedy people, they tried to have him killed. Hearing this, Jiho is deeply hurt because he truly loves Min-ji. He says that maybe he wouldn't have believed Naria, but he had seen the news himself. To avoid confusion, Jiho is now referred to as Nambai. Nambai used to miss Min-ji a lot, which is why he followed her and visited the same restaurant she used to go to. Nambai tells the waiter that this girl cannot handle too much alcohol, and since they have recently separated, he should give her non-alcoholic drinks. While leaving, Min-ji drops the necklace that Nambai had given her. He says that if he hadn't found this necklace, she would have cried again, saying she lost the necklace he gave her. Passing by, he returns the necklace to Min-ji. Nambai tells Min-ji, "Forgive me for not being able to tell you the truth. You just have to wait for me until I wouldn't have let the criminal escape." Naria tells him that she has prepared a fake death certificate for him, and from now on he is her younger brother. Naria tells him that she has saved some money and that they can start a company in America. But he says that he needs to find out the truth, and that is why he wants to return. They will still start the company because their competition is with the Hua Group. To convince everyone, both of them make a dummy of Jiho, because Naria is worried that if anyone finds out he is still alive, they will attack him again. He says, we will bury Jiho in front of everyone, and then when I appear as Nambai, no one will suspect anything. Now, when Nambai sees Minji crying, he feels extremely hurt. That's why he appears in front of Minji. He says, when you used to come near me, it was very difficult for me to stay in the character of Nambai, because Minji, you cannot even imagine how much I missed you. And last time when we danced, you were doing the same steps I had taught you. Even with the mask on, you recognized that I was Jiho. But forgive me, I could never reply to you. He continues, there are many secrets that I still have to uncover, but I hope I will succeed soon. Later, Nambai comes near Minji and notices that she hasn't taken the blanket properly. So Nambai fixes her blanket. Before leaving, Nambai kisses Minji on the forehead. In reality, Minji is awake and not sleeping. After Nambai leaves, she begins to smile. Nambai had asked a girl to find the man who shot him. The girl tied the man up and left after taking her payment from Nambai. Now Nambai asks the shooter, who ordered you to shoot me? The man refuses to speak. Nambai increases the air conditioner to maximum, and because of the extreme cold, the shooter finally agrees to talk. Nambai says, tell me the name of the person who ordered you. Today, Minji was talking to her assistant, but she wasn't really paying attention because she kept thinking about Nambai, which made her happy. Later, Nambai was copying some information from Minji's laptop, but suddenly Minji came there and asked him what he was doing on her laptop. Now Nambai didn't know how to cover up the situation, so he quickly grabbed Jiho's photo and tore it apart. Seeing this, Minji feels extremely hurt and asks, have you gone mad? Why are you ruining my things? Nambai says, because of these old memories, you're still stuck in the past. Jiho is dead, so what is the use of keeping his photo? Minji replies, Jiho is gone, but I will always love him. Nambai says he doesn't think so. Minji answers angrily, how can I ever have feelings for someone like you? You disappointed me. You don't even deserve a face that looks like his. I don't want to see you again. Get out. He tries to talk to Minji, but in anger she tells him to leave. While he is leaving, the data finishes copying. He takes the USB and leaves. After Nambai leaves, Minji looks at the torn photo and starts crying. Outside, Nambai also feels terrible, thinking he shouldn't have treated Minji like that. Suddenly he receives a call asking, did you get the documents? He replies, yes, I got the documents. Later, Minji goes to meet Haran to discuss work. But Haran says that since they are neighbors now, they should discuss work over dinner and take a look at my apartment too. At night, Minji arrives at Haran's house for dinner. Haran has cooked all of Minji's favorite dishes, which she really enjoys. After some time, Minji goes to the washroom, and meanwhile a call from Nambai comes in. He picks up Minji's phone and keeps it in his pocket because he had already seen Minji approaching. Minji asks him if he has seen her phone. So Haran says that its battery had died, so he put it on charging. Haran tells Minji to try a new cocktail, which she really likes. After getting drunk, Minji starts acting crazy. Nambai is calling Minji, but she is not answering, so he becomes worried. He says, I've been calling her since noon, but she hasn't picked up even once. Haran looks at Minji and says, finally, you're going to be mine. Just then, Nambai arrives and tells Haran to open the door. Haran ignores Nanbai's voice. When Haran doesn't open the door, Nambai starts breaking it. After breaking the lock, Nambai enters and quickly pushes Haran away from Minji and punches him in the face. Minji wakes up from the noise and asks, what is happening? When she sees Haran, she asks Nambai why he hit him. Nambai replies, ask him yourself what he was about to do to you. Haran says, you were drunk. I was only helping you lie down on the sofa. Then he broke into my house and started hitting me without saying a word. Minji tells Haran to let her bandage him, but Haran says he is fine. Nambai holds her hand and says, he said he's fine, and takes Minji away from there. After they leave, Haran becomes very angry with Nambai. When they reach home, Nambai asks Minji why she didn't answer his calls. Minji asks if it was something important. Nambai shows her Jiho's photo, the one he had torn. Seeing it, Minji is shocked and says, I don't have a copy of that photo. Then how do you have this photo? Nambai asks her, do you really like Jiho that much? Minji says, just give me that photo quickly. But Nambai is not giving Minji the photo. Now Minji is trying to snatch it from him too. Nambai says, answer my question. Minji replies, yes, I like Jiho very much. I think about him every day. But treating me like this, does it make you happy? Nambai says, I can't erase your past, but your future won't be like that. Saying this, Nambai kisses Minji. Minji tells Nambai, I'm drunk, so forget that anything happened between us. Saying this, Minji starts to leave. Then Nambai gives her hangover medicine and says, from now on, when you come home at night, you will inform me. Minji asks, why would I do that? Nambai replies, this is my house and you will follow my rules. Minji says, okay, takes Jiho's photo from Nanbai's hand and goes to her room. Actually, Nambai didn't have a copy of that photo. He took out his old clothes, recreated the same picture, and gave it to Minji. After returning to her room, Minji puts the photo in a frame and looks very happy. At night, Nambai has a dream about everything and wakes up. He says to himself, Haran is very dangerous. I have to protect Minji from him. Today Minji had come to Haran's house to talk about work, but she hadn't slept well because she was thinking about Jiho last night. Seeing her tired, Haran says, I'll make coffee for you. When he brings the coffee for Minji, he accidentally spills it on her clothes. Haran apologizes, but Minji says, it's okay. Haran says, I have a dress. If you want, you can wear it. Minji agrees. When Minji comes out wearing the dress, Haran looks at her and says, you look exactly like her. If your hair was a little shorter, there would be no difference between you two. Just then, Minji receives Nanbai's call asking her to return home. When Minji reaches home, she asks Nambai, what is all this stuff? Nambai tells her, this is pepper spray and a smart alarm. He had bought many things for Minji's safety. Minji asks, why did you buy all this? Nambai replies, because boys cannot be trusted at all. You should be careful, Minji says. Then if we live together, I should also be careful about you. Nambai says, you have crushed me, so you don't need to be careful. Minji replies, I never said anything like that to you. Minji tells him to step aside. When Nambai doesn't listen, Minji sprays in his eyes. Nambai starts reacting out of irritation. Seeing this, Minji panics and says, I'll take you to the hospital. Nambai says, the spray didn't go in my eyes. I was doing it. But if anyone tries this on you, respond with the same spray. Consider this a rule of the house. If you want to stay here, you must follow it. Minji agrees. Later, Minji has breakfast with Nambai, but she's staring at him. Minji thinks to herself, Jiho loved me so much, I can't betray him. She quickly goes to her room and tells herself to stay away from Nambai. She sets Jiho's photo as her phone wallpaper. At night, when Minji comes out of her room, she sees Nambai sleeping on the sofa. Minji gives him a blanket and sits nearby. She thinks their faces are alike. But when I'm near Nambai, it feels like Jiho is with me. Minji wants to kiss Nambai, but she questions herself, what am I doing? She starts to leave, but Nambai stops her because he is awake. Nambai asks her, what's wrong? You've been avoiding me lately. Minji says, that's not the case. After saying this, she leaves. The next morning, Minji comes for lunch and Nambai has left a note. You shouldn't stay up late at night. I brought you some vitamins. Eat them. I'm going to the mall. Call me if you need anything. Later, Minji turns on the TV and sees that a fire broke out in a shopping mall. She realizes it is the mall near them and calls Nambai, but he doesn't answer. Minji becomes very worried. She goes to the mall herself. Minji wants to go inside to find Nambai, but security guards don't allow her. Minji cries and says, my boyfriend is inside, so please let me go. Minji cries, Nambai, I like you. Now Minji looks back and sees Nambai has arrived. Seeing him, she quickly hugs him. Nambai asks, are you scared? Hearing this, Minji starts crying. Nambai asks, did you just confess to me? Minji says yes. Do you agree? Nambai replies, I've been waiting for this moment for so long. But are you sure you've moved on? Minji says, I already lost Jiho, but now I cannot lose you. Nambai says, seeing this, Jiho would be happy because he loved you so much. How could he ever be happy seeing you alone? Minji says, we should go to the hospital once. Who knows, you might have inhaled the smoke and later your health could worsen. Nambai says, I'm perfectly fine and kisses Minji. Minji looks very happy and sees Haran standing behind, looking angry seeing them together. Meanwhile, Naria also arrives, and she doesn't like seeing them together at all. After returning home, Nambai tells Minji, it's been a long time since someone cared for me like this. It feels really good. Minji asks, were you alone in the US? Nambai says yes. Minji says, from now on I will always stay with you. I promise I won't leave you again. Nambai thinks to himself, I have traveled a long way to be back with you. This time I won't leave you. Actually, there is a plant here, given by Heron to Minji. Heron installed a recorder in it and was listening to their conversation. Heron thinks earlier, I couldn't tolerate Jiho. Now Nambai is here. Why couldn't I be with Minji before? Minji is only mine. Heron comes and knocks on Nanbai's house door. Minji hears him and says, I'll go check outside. Nambai doesn't let Minji leave and takes her into the room. When no one opens the door, Heron knocks and leaves. The next morning, Minji receives a call from her assistant, informing her that the Honey Love jewelry series sent to Heron's company, Garden Venue, has a quality problem. Nambai says, I'll come with you. Minji says, I can handle it myself. Nambai hugs Minji and says, come home quickly then. Now Minji reaches the warehouse. Heron says, I hope you focus more on your product quality. Minji replies, because of us, you are having difficulty. Can you give us some time? Heron says, you don't need to worry. I already told you before, if any difficulty comes, we will face it together. Minji thanks Heron and says, I will go and talk to the factory director now. In a flashback, Nambai receives a message. If he wants to know who tried to kill him, he should come to this supermarket. Nambai says, the fire at this supermarket was not an accident. Someone tried to target me again. As they leave, Heron says, I have been with you through every difficulty and have done a lot for you. So why are you with Nambai instead of me? I don't want to do this to you, but you can see this as punishment for deceiving me. Then Heron closes the warehouse shutter. Nambai wonders why Minji hasn't returned yet. Nambai checks if there is any problem with the diamonds, calling Nan to send shipping records and quality reports. Seeing the reports, Nambai concludes there is no problem with the quality of the diamonds. Then how can there be a problem with the Honey Love jewelry series diamonds? Minji is also trying to investigate inside the warehouse. When she is free from work, she sees the shutter closed and calls out, but no response comes. Minji says, no one is here, but I shouldn't worry. Heron will return soon. Minji waits there. Soon, a box falls, scaring Minji, and a rat appears, frightening her even more. Outside, Heron watches and says, soon you will understand who protects you when you are in danger. Minji shouts for help. After a while, Heron says, Minji, look, I'm coming to save you. On the other side, Minji sits scared. Then the shutter opens and Nanbai arrives to save Minji. Heron says, after marriage, we can publicly share stock, but don't worry, I won't involve myself in Hua Group's business. Minji says, I know you are saying this for my benefit, but I need some time to think. Maybe there is another way to resolve this matter. At home, Minji asks her dad, why did you come home? Dad says, after everything happened, how could I stay in the hospital? He explains that the U.S. company buying their shares belongs to Jiho and Neria's company, and they had planned carefully to defeat them because they always wanted to take over Hua Group. Dad continues, a lot of years have passed since my marriage with Neria. But I can't tell you how she is, and Jiho has been away from you for a full year. How can you trust him? Minji says, I admit he betrayed me again, but it's very hard to believe he killed Neria. Dad says, it was my mistake to bring the enemy home. While saying this, Dad's health starts deteriorating. Minji quickly gives him medicine and says, don't worry, Dad. I will find a solution. Returning home, Minji sees Class Pappy and starts crying. How could Jiho do this to me? Minji calls Heron and says, I am ready to marry you. The next morning, Minji's assistant informs her that due to your engagement announcement, stock prices have stabilized slightly. But because of your breakup with Jiho, the Honey Life products are being returned. Minji says, ask the legal department to make a good statement and post it on behalf of the company. Heron comes to meet Minji and says, I am not forcing you. If you still feel you don't want this marriage, you can refuse. Minji replies, no, I just need some time to stabilize my feelings. Heron says, here's a way to forget your past is to change your presence. Minji says, I don't think this style suits me. Heron says, no, you look very beautiful. Heron is about to kiss her, but Minji steps back. Seeing this, Heron apologizes. Minji says, it's okay. Heron says, now that our marriage is about to happen, why don't you come to my house? I can take care of you this way. Minji agrees. Later, Minji is having dinner with Haran, but he has put an ingredient in every dish that Minji does not like. After eating a little, she says, I am full. As Minji tries to leave, Haran looks at her strangely. At night, Minji gets very hungry and cannot sleep, so she orders something from outside. When she goes to collect her order, Haran is holding it. She says, I ordered this, and he replies, outside food is not healthy, so I'll throw it away for you. Minji feels very bad that Haran threw her food. She says, why are you throwing away food like this? I wanted that food. Haran says, if you are hungry, I can cook for you. Minji says, I'm not hungry now, and goes to her room. In her room, Minji thinks, why didn't I notice earlier that Haran is so stubborn? Looking at her necklace, she says to Jiho, where did you go? The next morning, Minji comes out and Haran has already made breakfast. When she tastes it, she still doesn't like it. Then there is a knock at the door. She looks and Jiho is standing outside. Jiho rushes to kiss her, but she gets angry, slapping his face and says, where did you disappear? Don't you know the police are looking for you everywhere? Jiho says, don't marry Haran. Trust me. I didn't harm Naria. Someone else did. Minji says, but you and Naria tried to take over Hua Group. Jiho replies, I supported Naria, but I wasn't involved in any activity that would harm your dad's company. I would never hurt you. I can trust you. Believe me. Minji says, but you lied to me again. Jiho replies, forgive me for that. He then kisses Minji. Minji tells Jiho, I miss you a lot. A few moments later, they hear the sound of the door opening. Haran is surprised that he cannot unlock his own home. When Minji opens the door, Haran enters and asks, why did you lock the door? Minji replies, I have a habit of locking the door when I am home alone. Minji asks, why did you come back suddenly? Haran says, my afternoon meeting was cancelled, so I thought I'd come and spend some time with you. As he tries to go to the room, Minji stops him and says, why don't we watch a movie together? Haran is pleased to hear this and says, this is the first time you've invited me for a movie, so I can't refuse. Minji replies, I'll change quickly and come. Jiho is hiding in the room. Seeing Minji, Jiho forgets that he is at Haran's house. Minji stops him, saying, are you crazy? If Haran finds out, he'll call the police. Jiho says, don't trust Haran. There are many secrets I don't know. Just give me a week, and I'll answer all your questions. Meanwhile, Haran asks Minji if she is ready. Minji replies, I'm on my way. She goes with Haran to watch the movie. Jiho's man shows a photo, saying, this is Minji's sister, Hwaru. She is the real heiress of the Hwa family, and was also Haran's college girlfriend. The family protected her since childhood, so very few know about her. Jiho says, Minji told me that 8 years ago, her sister died in a car accident. Man said after her death, Haran took a break, and according to medical records, he is undergoing psychological treatment. Man shows this in Haran's travel records, explaining that he was in the US during the attack on Jiho a year ago. Jiho adds, but this evidence isn't enough to prove someone tried to kill me. We need stronger proof. After that, Haran had kept horror movies for Minji and messages her to select one. Minji tells him she isn't interested in horror movies. When she throws her phone on the table, the TV turns on remotely. Minji is shocked to see video of her sister. She realizes the dolls at Haran's house were gifts her sister made for his birthday. In the video, her sister asks Haran, will you watch my favorite horror movie with me today? Minji recalls that Haran had gifted her a bracelet on her birthday with HRY engraved. Minji notices the video and pauses it, realizing her sister's back has a mole. It reminds her of the dinner she had at Haran's house, where she saw a similar red-colored mole on her own back. Haran stands behind her. Seeing him, Minji falls. Haran says, you must be wondering how this mole ended up on your shoulder. Flashback shows that the day Minji got drunk and slept, Haran had made the mole on her back. Minji exclaims, you've gone crazy, and tries to run, but Haran stops her, tying her up. Haran says, you are very different from Hwaru. She loved jackets, but you prefer casual dressing. The ingredient I added in your food, she liked very much. But why don't you? Hwaru loved horror movies and rock music, but you don't like any of these. I always wondered if you could ever be like Hwaru. But when I saw you in her dress, you looked beautiful. I felt like my Hwaru had returned. I worked hard to make you like her, and now you're starting to look like her. Remember, Hwaru had a mark on her hand. I was going to burn you to make that mark. The scene cuts, showing Min-ji's wedding. Min-ji appears scared. Haran tells her, "You finally became my wife." At that moment, Jiho arrives. Min-ji tells Jiho to leave. Haran says, "The police must be here since you killed Naria." Jiho says, "You're telling the truth. Whoever killed Naria can't escape." Naria also arrives. Seeing Naria, Haran is shocked. Flashback shows Naria telling Haran, "I know you tried to have Jiho killed many times. You even started the fire in the supermarket." Haran replies, "Jiho was a roadblock. I had to remove him from my path." Naria becomes angry and says, "I will kill you if you try anything with Jiho." Haran pushed hard Naria so hard that her head hits the shelf. Instead of rescuing Naria, Haran leaves her there. Jiho says, "I have solid proof that last year you tried to kill me." Jiho tells Min-ji, "I promise to tell you the truth." Jiho approaches Min-ji, who tells him to stay back and warns that Haran had a time bomb attached to her. Jiho becomes worried. Haran then removes the bouquet, showing her intentions. Min-ji's life is in danger. As everyone sees this, they immediately try to escape. Haran holds a button and tells Jiho, "It's better if you let them go." Jiho tells Haran she is Hwaru's sister. If she were alive, would she want all this? Haran becomes furious and says, "I'm bringing back my Hwaru." Jiho tells Haran, "Relax, come to me, and let her go." Haran replies, "If you really want to save her, stab yourself with this knife." Naria pleads, "I'm requesting you to let Jiho go. I promise I'll marry you immediately." Min-ji tries to stop Jiho, but Jiho says, "I promised you I wouldn't lie, so close your eyes for a moment." Jiho pretends in front of Haran as if he is about to stab himself, but instead throws the knife and cuts the rope. As a decoration is about to fall, Jiho quickly moves Min-ji to the side. Haran is about to press the button, but Jiho takes it first. Haran gets angry and attacks Jiho. Initially, Haran is jailed for attempting to kill Jiho. Jiho is shown in the hospital. Naria asks, "What did the doctors say?" Min-ji replies, "The surgery is done. Doctors said he'll regain consciousness in a few hours." Naria says, "Haran confessed everything to the police." Min-ji says, "He loved my sister very much. They were about to get married, but suddenly my sister died in an accident." Seeing all this, Haran couldn't control himself and thought he could make me Hwaru. Naria says, "Forgive me for whatever I did to you." As Naria is leaving, Min-ji's dad says, "I heard your right leg." She replies, "Yes, it will stay like this for the rest of my life. Maybe it's punishment for what I did." Min-ji's dad gives a divorce agreement to Naria and surprises her by giving her his hotel. He says, "I had already planned to give you this hotel. I can't give you the Hwa group, but I hope you make a good career here." Min-ji returns to the room. Jiho regains consciousness. Min-ji quickly hugs him and says, "I'm so happy that you are completely fine." Jiho asks, "Who are you?" Min-ji is shocked and thinks, "Even being unconscious, your memory can't vanish." She says, "Do you remember anything about Nambai?" Min-ji remembers the first time she met Nambai at funeral and how she kissed him then. She kisses Jiho again now, and he notices the mark on her neck. Jiho teasingly asks, "Is this from Haran, pulling you like this?" Min-ji says, "Yes," and realizes he is joking. Jiho explains, "I didn't tell you the truth earlier because I didn't know who was chasing me. I was afraid that if you knew, your life would be in danger. Forgive me, but I promise I won't lie to you again." Min-ji replies, "All right, I'm trusting you one last time," and hugs Haran. Now it is shown that Min-ji's company is thriving, and she launches a new jewelry series. When Min-ji arrives at her office, a bouquet is on her table. Jiho tells her, "Come to the park tonight, there's a camp waiting." At the park, Jiho has collected their photos. As Min-ji looks through them, memories flood back. Finally, she reaches the last box, which is locked. Jiho gives her the key, saying, "In the previous boxes, we held the past, and this one holds our future." Min-ji opens the box to find a beautiful ring. Jiho says, "During this 1 year without you, I missed you so much. I thought we might never meet again." Min-ji replies, "But luckily, you're back." Jiho says, "From now on, I want to spend every moment of my life with you." Min-ji says, "You feel annoying when I become old." Jiho reassures, "That won't happen. Do you know why I chose this ring?" Min-ji says no. Jiho explains, "This DR ring can only be given to one person in life." Min-ji realizes, it means this ring binds us together like a red thread for life. Jiho sits down and asks, "Will you marry me?" Min-ji says yes, and Jiho places the ring on her finger. With this happy ending, the drama ends.